Hey guys, it's Ellie, and today I'm going to be doing something cool. Probably, I'm not sure. I'm going to be doing my favorite books from every single genre. I say every single genre, but, I don't like mystery books at all, so there's probably not going to be any mysteries. But you never know. I'm trying to think of all of them. Wait. Action, fantasy, romance, sci-fi. Sci-fi / dystopian, ? And fiction? Yeah, okay. I'll probably do top 2 favorite. Let's do this. So first, I'm gonna push all these books back because I was trying to figure out which ones I've read. I've read 6 books this month and I'm so shocked. Okay. If you couldn't tell, I'm sitting right by my bookshelf. But, so first I'm gonna do fiction. My favorite fiction book. So that'd be not fantasy. Okay, so my top 2 that aren't part of any other genre would be this one. It's called Out of My Mind by Sharon M. Draper. And this book is about a girl named Melody Bird. Yes. ? Yeah, Melody Bird. And and she has cerebral palsy, but she also cannot talk. So she is in the special needs class, but she's a genius, but no one can understand what she is, what she's trying to communicate. And so she joins the trivia team, I think, somewhere in the book, after she gets this computer that helps her talk, but no one's ready for that. So this book is so good. I read it in a week, but it's a really easy read, but I was busy that week. So, Out of My Mind. And then my second favorite that I wouldn't consider a part of any other ones, that's hard because I have a lot that I really love. But it's got to be Letting Go of Gravity by Meg Leder. This book, I've read it twice. It makes me cry. But most books make me cry. If you know me, you're gonna be like, oh, every book makes you cry, Ellie. It does. But this book especially. This book is about Parker McCulloch, and she is this honor roll student. She's going to Harvard to become a doctor because her twin brother Charlie was diagnosed with leukemia when they were 12. I think he was diagnosed with leukemia when they were 9, and then it came back when they were 12 or 13 or something like that. And so she has promised her parents she's going to become a doctor so she can help people like Charlie. But the stress gets to her, and she also meets this boy named Finn, who she knew back in 1st grade, who's had a really checkered past, and they end up becoming really good friends. He ends up getting her a job, and it's about how she navigated figuring out what she really wanted to do with her life that wasn't what she decided when she was 10 years old, and about telling her parents that she wasn't the perfect child. And this book, so good. I would highly suggest it to anyone, ever. Because if you know me, I'm a sucker for anything that deals with medical stuff, as you can tell. So, this book is top of my list. I love that book so much. Okay, so fantasy. So I'm just going to do this entire series. I don't have the first book on me at the moment, but this entire series, Keeper of the Lost Cities by Shannon Messenger, legitimately my favorite book series ever. The books are hefty. This book's 500, almost 600 pages. But they're juvenile fiction, but they're fantasy. And it's about this girl named Sophie Foster who finds out that she's an elf. And that her entire life, because she's the top of her class, she's really smart. She's 12 at the start of the series, and she's I want to say senior. but I don't remember. I haven't read the books in a hot minute, and at the moment, there are 9 books in the series, but one should be coming out next November. This is the newest one. This one is honestly one of my favorites because it has the story in the back. This one's really thick, but it also has, like, character development. And there's a map, there's recipes, there's trivia, there's coloring pages. Not like I've done any of the coloring pages because I don't like writing in books. So, I'm also going to do comic books. Graphic novels. But that book is splendid. That entire series. And then my other fantasy, that's hard. I don't know, I love a lot. There are a lot that I, like, adore, but out of this series, School for Good and Evil, this is the 4th book. I only have the 4th and the 5th one. But this series is, like, it's kind of like Ever After High on steroids. That's all I can say about that. If you ever watched Ever After High, it's like this school that, like, the main character, or the love interest, is King Arthur's son. And then, like, the one girl's friends, like the 3 witches, are, like, one of them's Prince John's daughter. One of them's the Wicked Witch from Hansel and Gretel. And one of them's someone else's daughter. I just don't remember. But this book is about 2 best friends who, one of them is sure that she goes to school for evil. Like, she wears black, everyone thinks she's a witch, and she's always been neglected, and also her mom lives in a graveyard. She lives in a graveyard, so everyone thinks she's evil, while the other girl, Sophie, is the town do-good, the happiest person, but Agatha, who's the other girl, is caring, and Sophie's very selfish. And so they find themselves placed, Agatha in the school for good and Sophie in the school for evil. And they're sure it's a mistake. But as time goes on, they realize maybe it wasn't. So that series, these are my 2 fantasy picks. This series and this series. Also, I hope you guys didn't think I was just going to pick one book. And not an entire series, because that's not going to happen. Romance is my next one, because that's what I'm going to pick. So I have a thing for romance books, but this book right here, Remember to Forget by Ashley Royer, is my favorite book of all time. This book, I've read it 5 or 6 times. It's a really easy read. It's comical, but also makes me cry. But this book is about a boy named Levi. Don't remember his last name. Don't even remember if it mentions it. But Levi has been diagnosed with clinical depression after the death of his girlfriend Delia. In an attempt to help him, his mom moves him all the way from Australia to Maine to live with his dad, to get him away from everything that reminds him of Delia. On this journey, he meets Delilah, a girl who reminds him of someone that he's lost. I just popped my knuckle. Which does that. It's so good. I can't even express how much I love it to you guys in one video. I honestly would do an entire 20-minute video on how much I love that book. It's legitimately my favorite book of all time. It's so good. And then my other book that I would say for romance-wise, that's hard. Probably be this book. It's Fight for Her by Liz Plum. Both of these are actually Wattpad books originally, which is fun. I'm on Wattpad as well. So I read this one originally before it got published. But this book is about the one girl. I totally just forgot her name. What's her name? Scarlet. So Scarlet is like the perfect girl. Like, she's dating the quarterback. She is all A's on all of her school stuff. She's like the popular girl, but stuff isn't good at home, and she lost her brother when she was 14, so she's very upset. In walks Elijah Black, the resident bad boy. So it's kind of like I'm in love with the bad boy kind of thing, but he takes her to this boxing ring where she finds out secrets about her long dead brother that she never knew. There's also stuff. It's not... One thing you should know about me is I don't read a lot of books with sexual tension. This book is the only exception. Yes. There's no sexual scenes. I'm sorry if that disappoints you, but I like it, so. And then, what's next? I'll probably do like a bonus one too. Just like a bonus. This is my favorite book ever. I'm gonna do dystopian and sci-fi because there is. So for sci-fi, this series, the Starbound Trilogy, I own every single book. So this is the first one called These Broken Stars. It's a sci-fi romance. So the first one is about, because every single book is about a different character, but the first book is about this one girl. Her name's Lilac, and her father is like the Bill Gates of space, pretty much. He builds this ship, like the spaceship, like the Titanic, and names it the Icarus. Don't know why. I don't know why. Why would you do that? But anyways, on this, and the flight crashes, obviously. The only two people who survived this plane crash, spaceship crash, is Lilac and this one army veteran, Tarver Marinson. So they're the only ones on this planet. Obviously, it's enemies to lovers. And it's sci-fi. So that's all I can say about that without spoiling it. But then this one, which is actually one of my favorite books, because this is actually a manuscript that I got on accident. So I have the other copy, that's the actual book, and I was flipping through it and they're completely different. Like, I went to one page and it was in the middle of the chapter, while the other one was like at the start, and I was like, oh, fun. So there's that. And then Dystopian. Oh no, there's still more sci-fi. I still need the other sci-fi book. I'm stuck because I need to reorganize my bookshelf. This book, The End and Other Beginnings by Veronica Roth. The name might sound familiar. She wrote Divergent and the Carve the Mark trilogy. I have my name in it. Not written. I'm not that stupid. It was because I lent it to a friend. And so I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna let you run off without my book. So this book is actually short stories, but most of them are sci-fi. And so I'm just gonna consider this a sci-fi book because I don't read a lot of sci-fi. Besides, yay. But I did sci-fi solely so I could do that book. This book is really good. There's 6 short stories, 2 of which are in Veronica Roth's sci-fi world, Carve the Mark. Actually, psych, this is not my favorite sci-fi book. I totally lied. This one is. This is Carve the Mark by Veronica Roth. This is an enemies to lovers, Romeo and Juliet kind of thing. So this one, they're in warring towns, and the one boy, Akos, gets kidnapped by the other country's guards to serve as a slave to the princess, because in this world they have abilities, and hers is she can bring all of this power into herself, but it causes her extreme pain, and he can slow the current gift, which numbs that. So he's kind of like her painkiller in a way. And obviously with them touching so much, stuff happens, but that's probably my favorite sci-fi book. And then Dystopian. I'm a sucker for dystopian books, especially dystopian romance. Yeah. Water is good. Hydrate or dehydrate, that's what I always say. It's like, that is not what I say. Actually it is. Anyways. So, dystopian-wise, I have to say, I love Divergent. I love Divergent so much. I'm gonna reread this at some point once I get through my to-read books. I have like 14. But Divergent, if you don't know, it's a dystopian society where everyone is sorted into groups by their personality. So you have Erudite, you have Amity, you have Dauntless, you have Abnegation, and you have... Erudite, Amity, Abnegation, Dauntless, and Candor. And so the main girl finds out that she is multiple, which is called Divergent. So she ends up picking Dauntless, the brave, and transferring from her home in this small town of Abnegation to this army base, pretty much. Because Dauntless is the brave, so they do crazy stunts, and they face their fears, pretty much. And this is very different for her. But she finds out that there are certain things corrupt in this community, and they're hunting Divergents, the government, because it messes with their perfect society. And so, this book, I can't even. No, okay. I'm just gonna sit here and just bounce with the books to tell you how much I love them, because I have no words. So that one, and then, I'm just dropping books everywhere. I really love Maze Runner, I really love Hunger Games, but The Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. This book is so good. The plot twist at the end is amazing. So this book, I would call it more fantasy than dystopian, but we're going to call it dystopian because dystopian means corrupt Earth. So, corrupt Earth, right here. The society is divided by the color of your blood. So there's the Silver Bloods, who are the ones who have magical powers. Like, they can control fire, or they can control metal, or cause earthquakes, or read people's minds, or control their thoughts. And so, and then there's the Reds, who are the common folk, the poor. And not every year, when every Red turns 18, they get enlisted into the army, no matter what. Actually, that's a lie. Unless they have a job. But jobs are hard to come by. And so, Mare, I totally just blanked out and forgot her name. Her name's Mare. She lives with her family in this small town in the Red City. And she's 4 weeks out from turning 18. And her three older brothers are already enlisted. So she misses her brothers and whatever. And so she's there. And she finds out that her best friend, Kylorn, lost his job as a fisherman assistant because the fisherman died. And so he lost his job as a fisherman's assistant, and he's 4 days out from turning 18. 2 days. So she has to get her butt moving so he doesn't get enlisted. And so she she enlists the help of this person who gets her into the Silver Palace. While at the Silver Palace, during this, it's called the Queen's Trial, where the prince is trying to find his queen and whatever, like that. And so they're showing off their abilities. She falls into this force field that they had put over to make sure nothing from the Queen's Trial got anywhere else. And she falls into this electric force field, but she doesn't die. This is when they find out that she can control lightning. And so the king goes to her and says, we're going to make up this story about you being a long-lost silver, because she has abilities, but she's a red, and that's unheard of. And so they make this thing where it's like, thing and thing. Yeah, makes sense. Where she's this long-lost war hero's daughter, who was adopted after her father died, and brought to the red, never knowing who she was, which is obviously a lie, but it's very good. I highly suggest that one. I'm trying to think of, did I miss one? I feel like I missed one, but, comic books. So, graphic novels. This is my all-time favorite graphic novel, Ghosts by Raina Telgemeier. I read this book today, actually. This entire book today. It's not that hard to read comic books, you guys. Just do it. This book by Raina Telgemeier. And there's this is my bookmark that I left in there. This book is about a girl named Katrina who moves from her home in LA to Southern California. No, not Southern California. Lower California. Southern. I can English. I think it's Southern California. Down by the Mexican border. And she moves to this town who believes in ghosts. The entire town. Because it's better for her sister Maya, who has cystic fibrosis. Anything related to medical, my favorite. So they move to this town, and they find out that there is ghosts in this town. But she's afraid that they're going to take her sister back with them. And so she doesn't want them to go anywhere near her or her sister. But she finds out that they aren't there to harm her or her sister. They're just there because they live there. But it's a very touching story, and it makes me cry because I have a younger sister, and so I just die every single time I read it. So that book. And then this book. Meg, Jo, Beth, and Amie, by authors. It's multiple authors. I just don't know how to pronounce either of their names. I don't want to mess it up. But this is a modern day retelling of Little Women. So like, yeah, I don't know how else to explain it. But it's a modern day retelling of Little Women. But no one dies. Which is muy yes. I can't speak Spanish. I'm sorry. But this book is also a really easy read. Very, very good. If you haven't read Little Women, I'm sorry. You should go do that. I actually have it. But this book is so good. Little Women, if you haven't read it, go do it right now. But Little Women is about these 4 sisters who, their family is poor and their father's away in the military, or in the old book, it's in the army, fighting for the Civil War. But he's out there and they're poor, and it's how they navigate this life. So like, one of them is an heiress, and one of them, not an heiress, something like that. Not like that, but like that. I forgot. Not Duchess. It's something with an S at the end. Governess. I can English. And one of them is a writer. And one of them is like, oh, so good. And then there's also their neighbor boy, Laurie. And he's amazing. He's my fictional crush. Him or the guy from this series. My fictional crush. But this book is very good. And then, honorable mention, don't know where it fits because it's so many different genres. But my book talk people are going to be like, what the heck? 6 of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. So freaking good. So this is a hefty book, right? This is like 400 pages. I read it in 3 days. It's that good. So this book, if you don't know, that's fine. This book is amazing, and it's my favorite. One of my favorite books ever. But this book is about this one guy. His name is Kazbrecker, and he gets tasked to break in to this court to rescue this guy who's making drugs to enhance the super people powers. Because there's, like, the Grisha who have superpowers to, like, enhance their powers, and that's not good to be in those hands. So they're going to take it and use it for themselves. And it's also not good for the Grisha, so they're just going to put it away. So he knows he can't do it by himself. He's like this master pickpocketer, but he's nothing more. He's like the 17-year-old, like, limp guy who's just has an attitude of a dead hawk. But he enlists Inej Jaffa, who is a master acrobat and also his best friend. Jesper Faley, who is a sharpshooter, also one of his best friends. And he also is the comedic relief character, so you always have to have that. Nina Zenik, who is a heart render, which means she can control people's hearts. So, like, she can slow their heart rate down and knock them unconscious, or, like stop their heart and kill them or whatever. So, and then Matthias Helvar, they rescued him, he's a convict, who is Nina Zenik's lover, who who lived in the ice court, something like that. So he knows the entire floor plan. And Wylan Van Eck, who at the start is really just leverage because he's the son of the guy who has given them this deal. So they're like, we could keep him around, and then he has to give us our money, pretty much. So, as you can guess, with a crime book, everything goes to hell in a handbasket. And it's so good. And, yeah. Also, if you've watched the new Shadow and Bone TV show on Netflix, Kaz, Inej, and Jesper, and Nina and Matthias, actually, are all in the show as sub-characters. So, if you haven't watched that show, you should. It's good. It's like 8 episodes. They are coming out with a new season, though, and they're going to be casting Jesper and Nikolai, which is fun, because I love both of those characters. But, anyways, comment and tell me what genre you think that book is, because it's in a fantasy world, in a sci-fi community, or in a dystopian community, with a mystery crime plotline. I don't know. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I would tell you to subscribe, but I don't care. You can do that. If you want, do that. If you don't. That's cool with me. I don't care. Anyway, thank you for watching. Go check out any of these books. They're all muy perfecto. Because I can Spanish, right? Anyway, thank you for watching. See you next time. Have a good day. Bye.